Oh, man, it's been a while, hasn't it, huh? Hang on, let me get myself situated here. Alrighty, well, I've ditched that guy with the glasses, shaved my head, and now we're going balls deep. This episode's game should start the reboot of UW, and today we're playing Double Dragon 3. Until we win. Double Dragon 3, the Sacred Stones in the United States, and the Rosetta Stone everywhere else in the civilized world, is a side-scrolling beat-em-up produced and developed by Technos Japan. Except if you looked up the game on Wikipedia, it says it was developed by East Technology. I know you're asking the same fucking question I was. Who in the hell is East Technology? Well, they're never mentioned in the game, the credits, the booklet, the box, or anywhere except on Wikipedia. You know, it's stuff like this that just pisses me off. Look, I've researched every single bit about Double Dragon 3 that I could find. I followed obscure paths that went nowhere, but had some interesting gems of information. I mean, it's not Data East, as some people might expect. They were a company created to exploit cassettes as data storage for arcade games, but got beat down by the JAMA standard, so, you're fucked. As far as I can tell, Technos Japan developed all of their own games, except when it came to 3 curious incidents. Sega licensed Double Dragon to develop it on the Sega Master System. The Sales Curve developed versions of Nintendo World Cup for the X68000. No joke, there's a rare version of Nintendo World Cup floating around somewhere in Japan made for Sharp's X68000 machine. Then there's Double Dragon 3, which has a unique life of its own. The Master System/Genesis version of the game was developed by Software Creation, who also developed Silver Surfer. Great. Their punishment was to be bought out by Acclaim, who folded 2 years later because Gregory Fishbach stayed on too long. Since I'm probably never going to get to talk about this ever again, the Sales Curve was a fascinating company. They not only developed the Game Boy version of Double Dragon 3, but also the ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, Commodore 64, Amiga, Atari ST, and IBM PC versions. Who's the Sales Curve and why should you care? The Sales Curve was formed in 1988 and developed games for Virgin, Accolade, and Ocean, then became a publisher in 1992, changed their name in 1994 to the Sales Curve Interactive because every fucking thing in the 1990s had to be interactive. Play a little buzzword bingo there. They went public in 1999 on the London Stock Exchange as SCI Entertainment Group plc. They were bought by Eidos Interactive, renamed themselves to Eidos plc, then bought by Square Enix. So, somewhere in the legal archives at Square Enix is a contract that says they have the rights for Double Dragon 3 on the Amstrad CPC. Yeah, there's some high-value IP right there. So what does any of this have to do anything with East Technologies, Technos Japan, and Double Dragon 3? Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
It's just to prove a point that I know a lot about the gaming industry, and when it comes to East Technology, I can only find little bits of information. So here's what I can piece together. This was their first game, a Japanese arcade game called Destruction, or Destruction. Get it? It's only the flyer image, though, because apparently this game was never released. It's just some guy's dream to have badly drawn space robots in an arcade game. As far as I can tell, the game never came to be, but something interesting happened along the way. East Technology started to release games, not this one in particular, but they did a lot of work for Taito, including Slapshot, Silent Dragon, Ryujin, Operation Wolf 3, Gigandes, Kyokyoku, No Striker, Selfina, Balloon Brothers, and of course the aforementioned Double Dragon 3. What does all this mean? The Wikipedia entry is fucked. East Technology developed arcade games, not NES games. Every single motherfucker on YouTube cites East Technology as the company that developed Double Dragon 3, but they didn't. Technos Japan developed Double Dragon 3 on the NES. East Technology just ported the arcade game. I also have technical proof as well. East Technology was not known for leaving debug info in its ROMs. Technos, on the other hand, often left some debug code at the end of the ROM at address FFF6 in the M6502 CPU address space. Double Dragon 3 has that code there, and God almighty, these people have millions of followers, and all they do is make cursory glances at Wikipedia for facts. I fucking hate that. Anyway, now that you know the history of Double Dragon 3, let's get to the actual game. This game is fucking hard. When I first started playing, I straight up got my ass handed to me in the first room. But as I played, I learned a few things. Number one, this game is not about the levels, but about the enemies, so don't expect a level-by-level breakdown here. Number 2, you damn well better learn the timing of that spin kick because, number 3, the enemies are complete bullshit. Number 4, holy fuck, these bosses. Alright, so the game's not about the levels. Aside from 1 or 2 sticking points, there are almost no challenges in the levels themselves. This is a beat-em-up, after all. Yeah, there's level 4, where you've got to do some early-level bullshit platforming for no particular reason, but beyond that, the levels are pretty bland. There's really only 2 main problems with this game, the enemies and that goddamn spin kick. I have a little bit of advice for you. Learn to time that damned spin kick like your life depended on it. Because of all the options you have, the weapons you can use, and the other characters you'll unlock, that spin kick is the only thing that will keep you alive long enough to win this game. Yeah, that's right. I just told you to cheese the fuck out of this game. I mean, what? Is that bad? This game will corner rape you over and over and over again. Fuck that. Cheese it. Now, there's a nice array of enemies in this game that you've got to pay attention to. If you're not careful, a certain combination will kick the living shit out of you. Oh, and they have names. I shit you not. Gibson is the bald guy with the gray pants. He's in practically every level of the game and could be considered your basic bad guy. You don't really need to worry about him, except when he flings a knife at you. Robinson is the long-haired rocker-looking dude. He usually just punches and kicks, although sometimes he comes equipped with a beer bottle and can team up with Gibson for a powerful flying kick. Dabby, which I think is a Japanese butchering of the English language, though I'm not quite sure what to call him, she appears in the first 2 levels and then just kind of fucks off and, I don't know, moves to California or something. The martial artist guys in level 2 are a royal pain in the ass when you first meet them. They have the longest range jump kicks in the game, and they slide along the ground just to piss you off. They use the Sai as a weapon, but don't appear anyone else in the game, so you just kind of learn to deal with them and get past them. The ninjas from Double Dragon 2 are back, but they're toned down some. That doesn't mean they're not a pain in the ass. They're quick and avoid your spin kick attack, which you need to cheese to win the game, and so they avoid it. Oh, it's annoying. They attack in pairs and come in 2 colors. They also like to use their ninja blades and shurikens. Hooray! They have ranged attacks. Isn't that great? Get used to those fuckers, by the way. They appear in level 3 and fuck your shit up. Then they disappear in level 4, only to reappear in level 5 and attack you like a goddamn Zerg Rush key. It's like these guys don't stop attacking. It's insane. The Italian Stallions, which actually are gladiators, are brutal opponents. They throw these nasty spears in nearly unlimited quantities and can corner rape you into oblivion. Oh, and by the way, you can't really time the spear attack either, so have fun with that. By the way, they're not the only problem you're going to face. The Gladiator is great at throwing a quick flurry of punches that hurt like nobody's business. Kicks that send you flying across the screen, and they can jump kick too. You know, just for good measure. You know, the basic enemies are bad enough, especially when you get thrown into 2 different enemies at once, like Gibson and a ninja. The difference in speed is just downright rude, by the way. The bosses, though, oh man. That's when this ridiculous game gets even more ridiculous. Meet Jim. He's the leader of the Neo-Black Warriors. And yes, that random group of assholes you're fighting has a name. And he's Willie's younger brother. Yes, that Willie you utterly decimated in the first game. Unlike his brother, who likes to shoot you, Jim prefers to get up close and personal. He fights with his hands, and loves to kick the shit out of you. He can dodge your attacks, yay, and if you get too far away, Jim has a nasty trick up his sleeves. Pants. He likes to flying knee kick you into next Thursday. Sometimes he'll knee kick you when you're close to him because Jim is a fucking dick. I recommend beating the shit out of Jim as quickly as possible. Now look, I've played this game a lot. A lot. I've come to one conclusion. You need to cheese the fuck out of this game. I know. It sounds lame. But either you treat this game with the same level of cheese that it hits you with, or you're going to die. A lot. The easiest way to beat Jim is to get him in a corner and flying spin kick the utter crap out of him. You're going to need some damn good timing, though, because once Jim gets up, you've got about half a second before he either punches the inside of your skull or sends you flying with his knee kick. The timing here is actually pretty simple. He's not actually up on his first frame, he's kneeling. Your attack needs to land after Jim is drawn standing up. If you wait to jump in the air when he's standing up, you're just going to get dick punched. and you don't want to get dick punched. So jump just after you see him jump knee. The timing should be just enough for your spin kick to land on Jim's jaw just as he's about to stand, but right before his attack animation does anything bad. Eventually, you'll kick the shit out of him. The second boss is Chin Seimi. He's a master of Moko Gazenken? Unless Moku Gazenken means fat man belly flops into your goddamn face, then I don't know what it is. He's the brother of Chin Taime and wants revenge for you killing his brother. His attacks are pretty basic, but he hits like a goddamned train. He punches rapidly, delivering an instant knockdown every time he lands it, and his kicks are amazingly strong and send you flying. But his goddamned belly flop is the strongest attack he has. He'll eat through your health bar in no time. Once again, the easiest way to deal with Chin Chin here is to cheese the living fuck out of him. If you can get him trapped in a corner and spin kick your way to victory, great. His animation frames are a bit easier to time because he's not actually an enemy. He has the same frame animations as Billy and Jimmy do, so you should be able to time your kicks without too much of a problem. He also has the first Rosetta Stone and will join your team if you manage to beat him. Just remember that if you fuck up, Chinaman here is going to fist your anus and make you bleed. Take it from me, you don't want a fat Chinaman fisting your anus. Level 3's boss is Yagyu Aranzu, and he has a goddamn backstory that isn't present in the game at all. Check this out. He holds the third Rosetta Stone and is the leader of a secret society of ninjas. After you beat the living shit out of every member of his society, who are all his pupils, he challenges you to a duel. Yeah, this dude is the keeper of an ancient rock of power, has trained an entire secret sect of ninjas to keep people away from the rock of power so man doesn't fall into an evil mastermind's wicked ways, and you waltz right in there, beat the shit out of his pupils, then beat the shit out of him. I mean, my god, you're a fucking prick. Anyway, Yagyu Ranzu is pretty rough since you're not used to his jump height and his long-reaching blade, but much like Piggly Wiggly from the last level, you shouldn't have much trouble timing your spin kicks to keep him grounded. Just watch out for that blade because it fucking hurts. Once you beat the shit out of him, he'll cough up that third stone and join you on your quest. Why? Because he's psychotic, I guess. The fourth boss actually has a name. You may not realize it playing the game, because the game just sort of skips the fuck over it, but Ronnie Urguidez is the fourth boss, and if that name sounds Italian to you, you're fucking nuts. His name isn't mentioned anywhere in the game except in the arcade version where he's actually a playable character. If you check out the cutting room floor, there are some remnants where Ronnie might have actually been a playable character. It's neat stuff, and a real shame he's basically just a harder version of Jim. Realistically, the only problem with Roni is the stage leading up to him. By the time you get to the boss, all of the gladiators and their ass-kicking will have taken you down in health, something harsh. Roni isn't that difficult, except the flying knee kick he uses is about 3 times as powerful as Jim's. Other than that, cheesing Roni isn't that hard. Master his stage first, then worry about him. The more health you have going into the battle, the better off you'll be. Now, before the final battle, the old woman that has been leading you along to find Maid Marian will betray you, take the stone, steal the power for herself, transform into a dragon, and kick the shit out of you. Or she'll just come out of the room and die. You know, whatever. Before the final battle, you have to face 3 mummies. They're really slow and very predictable. They'll predictably dodge your spin kick or grab you and cause massive amounts of damage by staring at you briefly. I don't know what they're doing, but I probably don't want to imagine it. Anyway, the trick to beating these guys is persistence. If you stick to your spinning kick guns, you should be okay. Just don't expect to be able to cheese these guys like you've been able to do up to now. Once you finish off the 3 of these guys, you'll face off against Queen Noriam. Pro tip. That's Marion spelled backwards. Shh, don't tell anyone. Actually, in the Japanese version, Marion is possessed by the reawakened spirit of Cleopatra. Whatever the fuck you call her, this is one tough bitch. She has some really annoying abilities. The first one, she can launch firebirds across the room. She can disappear in a flash of fire, which, by the way, if your timing sucks, will hurt you, and then she reappears underneath you, which, surprise, hurts you. She can also jump up on the opposite side of the room and launch a fireball at your head. She has the wonderful ability to force choke a bitch and fling you across the room, and she's tough, but not impossible. The first thing you want to do is get this chick in a corner and spin kick her. From now on, every time you spin kick her, you're going to need to move, either up or down depending on your position on the screen, to force Cleopatra to move to your new position. Once she moves, you'll need to wait to see the first frame of her attack animation. Yeah, I know, it's a bitch and a half, but if you're quick enough, you'll be able to mostly cheese her. That's not to say you're not going to have problems, because one of her attacks is that annoying fucking teleport thing she does. When she turns into that fire snake thing, you're more than likely going to be hanging in midair, spinning around like a moron that just got a golden star for not shitting himself. When you finally land, you need to move up or down, again depending on your position, until she reappears. If you move left or right, or you're using the Fat Man, she's going to hit you with that fire snake bullshit and take away a quarter of your health. Just keep it up. Dodge her teleport attack, and time your special attacks carefully, and eventually, if you're really lucky, you'll beat her and win the game. Enjoy your epilogue.